Welcome to the Mindset Coach podcast, brought to you by the Mindset Coach Academy. I'm Lara Young, your host and Master Certified Coach. Whether you're a seasoned coach or just starting your coaching career, this podcast is your go-to resource for all things mindset, coaching, and personal development. Each week, we bring you expert insights, practical strategies, and inspirational stories to help you become the best coach you can be. Our guests range from leading industry professionals to successful mindset coaches who share their secrets for creating lasting change. Plus, I'll be answering your burning questions and sharing tips from our ICF and multi-accredited Mindset Coach certification program. So, if you're ready to elevate your coaching game, stay tuned and let's dive into today's episode. Welcome back to the Mindset Coach podcast, the show where we explore the psychology and practical strategies behind building a thriving coaching practice and creating transformational results for your clients. I'm your host, Lara Young, founder of the Mindset Coach Academy, and today we're tackling a topic that every coach faces at some point. Why am I not getting clients? You've done the training, you've poured your heart into your work, you know you can help people. But somehow the inquiries, the bookings, the sign-ups aren't coming. And here's the truth. The number one reason coaches don't get clients isn't because they need another certification or a fancier website or a better funnel. It's because of self-sabotage, those invisible patterns that create confusion, inconsistency, and hesitation. So in today's episode, we'll diagnose where that might be happening for you, and I'll walk you through 3 powerful shifts you can make with practical exercises to fix it fast. Let's dive in. Most coaches think they have a marketing problem, but underneath, what's really happening is a mindset problem that's playing out through their marketing. You might say things to yourself like, I don't know what to post, or I don't want to sound salesy, or I'm just going to wait until I'm clearer on my niche. Does this sound familiar? Because here's what's really going on. When you're not clear on who you help and what transformation you create, your subconscious protects you from rejection by keeping you in a loop of hesitation and busy work. You go and you tweak your logo, you adjust your brand colors, your bio, instead of having conversations or sharing insights that will be really valuable for people and draw them to you. You hide in perfectionism and call it preparation. This is self-sabotage disguised as productivity. So the question to ask yourself is, what am I avoiding by staying unclear or inconsistent? So there are 3 main blocks that stop coaches from getting clients. The first is self-sabotage, the fears that lie underneath the surface. So fear of failure, fear of success, or fear of being seen. You may find that you're taking 2 steps forward and then suddenly you need a break. Something will crop up. You'll feel tired. You'll feel like you don't want to do it. Something will happen and that sabotage begins. The second is inconsistent marketing. This is where you're showing up when you feel inspired and disappearing when you don't. And then what happens then is that momentum never compounds because you stop just as it starts working. We need to have consistency. We need to be showing up so people can find us, people can see us, and people can then, of course, work with us. And the third is lack of clarity, trying to talk to everyone so no one feels like you're speaking to them. Your message becomes about your method and not your client's transformation. And I see this time and again. So which one describes you right now? Because awareness is the first start of the fix. So let's move to the practical part, how to actually fix it. Here are 3 simple shifts to help you rebuild clarity, consistency, and connection fast. And I'll give you an exercise for each one. Shift number 1 is that we need clarity before confidence, because confidence doesn't come first, clarity does. What you need to do here is make sure that you've asked yourself the question, who am I here to help? What problem do I help them solve? And what transformation do they get from working with me? Until you can say these things out loud confidently in plain human language, the kind your ideal client would say, you'll always feel wobbly. Now, oftentimes we think we're speaking in plain human language, but even things like sharing phrases like limiting beliefs or self sabotage without description of how they're showing up for people, they don't really have much meaning. And also, people don't say those things to themselves. Often we read things about, people who work with high achievers or high performers. I'm not sure that many people identify in that way. So what we've really got to do is make sure that our language is highly resonant with those people in our niche, those people we're wanting to serve. So let's have a look at a couple of examples here. So example one is the business coaching niche, and imagine that you're working with consultants or early stage entrepreneurs. Who am I here to help? I help coaches and consultants who are great at what they do, but struggle to consistently attract clients and create reliable income. What problem do I help them solve? They're constantly stuck in feast and famine cycles. They post online, they tweak their offers, and second guess what's working, but they don't have a system or the mindset to turn their expertise into steady, scalable revenue. What transformation do they get from working with me? They learn how to confidently communicate their value, design offers that convert, and build consistent income without burning out or chasing the next marketing trend. By the end of our work together, they feel grounded, clear, and fully in charge of their business growth instead of guessing their way through it. Now, the second example is a single dad dating niche, and this is where we're working with a single dad on confidence and relationship coaching. So, who am I here to help? I help single dads who spent years putting their kids first and now feel out of touch with dating, confidence, and connection. What problem do I help them solve? They want to find love again, but the dating world feels unrecognizable from when they were dating back in the day. It's full of apps, ghosting, and awkward conversations. Deep down, they're just afraid of losing themselves trying to please someone else. What transformation do they get from working with me? They rediscover their confidence, they rebuild trust in themselves, and they learn how to show up as grounded, authentic men who attract healthy, meaningful relationships without pretending to be someone they're not. By the end, they don't just date again, they believe again what's possible for them. Now, this kind of language builds instant connection because it names what the client feels, but maybe hasn't really been able to articulate. So, one of the things that you can do is do the 10 voice test. And this could be where you ask 10 people, they can be past clients, peers, or people in your audience, how would they describe the challenge that your coaching solves? And then what you do once you've asked those things, and you can do them, as a Google form, as an interview, grab a coffee, invite people to have a coffee with you and just ask them some questions. And then what you want to do is once you've got all that information, highlight the words and phrases that are on repeat. And that becomes your marketing language. Because what you're doing then is you're not writing from what you think is what resonates with people, you're writing from how people feel. And another way to do this is to reverse engineer by putting some of the testimonials that you've been given for your coaching into AI and asking it to come up with what are those words and phrases that people continuously use when they share testimonials for your work, so that you've got that there, you've got that bank of language. Have a question you'd like answered on the show? Or maybe there's a topic you'd love for us to dive deeper into? Reach out to us via social media or email us directly through our website. Your input helps us create content that's relevant and valuable to you. Remember, this podcast is here to support you on your coaching journey. So please do connect with us. We can't wait to hear from you. So another thing to think about as well, and I think this is quite a good one, if someone overheard me describing what I do at a cafe, would they instantly know how I help? Because if not, you really need to refine it, because it needs to be, your message needs to be really clear, really simple. I mean, I call mine the dad test. If I can explain to my dad what I do and he gets it, then I know that that language is simple and clear, because he's been working in a world that is not at all in the same type of world that I've been working in. So the second shift is to create consistency through ritual. Confidence isn't actually a feeling, it's a habit. We can feel confident, and we have a habit of feeling that way. And consistency isn't actually about discipline, it's making sure that you have that relationship with your mission, your vision that you're passionate about, because then you will want to be consistent. So here's a 5-minute pre session ritual. So before each session or before creating content, do this. Firstly, take 3 deep breaths. Secondly, say, my role is to hold space, not have all the answers. Next, visualize one person that you could help today. And then smile, because that micro shift in your physiology changes everything. And then what you can do is you can go ahead and write your content or go ahead and have your coaching session, because that shift, that ritual shift, will really change your energy and it will change the way in which you engage and interact. And then when you've had your session or when you've written your content, journal some quick reflections. What worked well? What did I learn about myself? And what will I do differently next time? And another thing that works well, of course, with any habit is to use some kind of a tracker. So I invite you to commit to showing up for 30 days and just tick off each day that you show up, whether that's posting, coaching, or connecting, because momentum actually builds when we give it visible evidence. And having that is so powerful for building those habits. Now, the third shift is to focus on conversations, not content. So let's redefine what conversation means, because sliding into DMs, I don't know about you, to me it feels icky, outdated, inauthentic, and also overdone. Instead, I want you to start to think of a conversation as a collaboration. You don't have to chase people, but you can invite participation. And here are 3 really creative ways to do it. The first one is to create some kind of insight survey. So this is just a really short survey. It's engaging, that helps your audience to reflect on maybe something like where they're stuck or where they most want to change. So you can ask questions like, when it comes to achieving your goals, what gets in your way most often? Or if you could shift one belief about yourself, what would it be? Offer something in return, like a simple reflection summary or a short video breaking down key themes that emerged. And really, it positions you as someone who's listening first, who's really interested in what is actually going out there in the world. And then you're able as well to craft offers that really do relate and resonate with your ideal client. The second is the collaborative poll. So this is where you could post a poll on LinkedIn, Instagram, or inside your school community, for example. So I've just posted in our school community, the Coaches Success Studio, what do you think keeps most people from fulfilling their potential even when they know what to do? I posted that poll and I've given people 4 options. Option 1, doubting themselves more than the process. Option 2, letting fear disguise itself as logic. Option 3, confusing progress with perfection. And option 4, forgetting they already have what it takes. Now, this poll is going to be something that is very quick and easy for people to contribute to and participate in. And it means as well that I can then follow up with my reflections on the most answered, frequently selected option. And then what happens is, of course, people feel like they're part of those insights. They're going to engage more deeply. And it enables me to build engagement and visibility without being salesy. Also, we have a short pre-frame for any poll. We can, use sentences like, I've been exploring what really keeps people from changing, not the surface excuses, but the truth beneath them. Let's see what resonates most for you. This is really engaging. It helps people to feel like they are part of a community and part of the discussion. So I wonder what polls that you could create on LinkedIn or in your own community or on Instagram, for example. Now, the third option is the co-creation conversation. So, for example, this is where you say, I'm creating a free guide on X. I'd love to include insights from other coaches. What's one lesson you'd add? So for you, for example, it would be maybe from other business owners or from other vegans or from other menopausal women, whatever your niche is. And when you publish the final piece, tag those contributors and thank them, Because what you've done there is you've taken people who are cold to warmish leads and you've made them collaborators, and then they're going to share it. And it also then sets the scene as well for you maybe inviting them if you've got a podcast like this one, or maybe you want to get them to do something with you, a live on Instagram or something like that. You're really setting the scene for that. I'd love you to think about what is your connection vehicle. Pick one of the three above, a survey, a poll, or a co-created guide, and run it this week. Take action now. You've listened to the podcast, take action. Don't wait to make it perfect. And then ask yourself, once you've run this exercise, once you've completed it, what did I learn about my audience that I didn't know before? Because the learning then becomes your next post, your next offer, or your next podcast topic. And so it becomes all interrelated. So remember, your role isn't to be the expert on your client, it's to be the partner with your client. And when you stop performing and start partnering, you create this field of trust. And that energy, that grounded, confidence, curious energy, is what draws clients to you naturally. So I'm going to leave you with 3 mindset reframes. Number 1 is you don't find clients, you create them through clarity and connection. The second one, confidence isn't a feeling, it is built through ritual and repetition. The more we do something, the better we get at it. And the better we get at it, the more confident we become. And the more confident we are, the much more likely we are to keep doing it. And consistency isn't necessarily always about discipline. It's actually about finding where your passion is, what you're devoted to doing. Because when you enjoy something, resistance dissolves completely, and it's easy to be able to show up regularly. The other thing I'd like to say as well is that your next opportunity may not come from one of your well-constructed funnels, but from a conversation that you invite. It may come from somewhere unexpected. So here's your invitation. Pick one of the exercises from today's episode and do it this week. A lot of times we hear about activities and exercises and we think that's a great idea, and then we forget. So whether it's running a poll, sending out a survey, or refining your clarity, take one small consistent action. And if you'd love the support, accountability, and community to actually implement these shifts, come and join us over in our community, the Coaches Success Studio on School. It's where we turn insight into action, action into results, and results into thriving coaching businesses. You'll get the tools, the structure, and the community to keep you consistent and confident without having to do it alone. You can find the link below or head to mindsetcoachacademy.com for a link to join us. Until next time, keep showing up, keep coaching, and remember, you already have everything you need to create results that clients rave about. Bye for now. That wraps up today's episode of the Mindset Coach podcast. I hope you found it as inspiring and informative as I did. If you enjoyed today's show, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your fellow coaches. Your support helps us reach more people and continue to bring top-notch content every week. Remember, you can always learn more about our ICF and multi-accredited Mindset Coach certification program, our coaching membership, and other training opportunities by visiting mindsetcoachacademy.com. Thank you for tuning in and keep striving to become the best coach you can be. Until next time, this is Lara Young signing off. Stay motivated and keep transforming lives.